So we don't have a lot on the agenda today, but feel free to add or raise more topics if you have them. Just I wanted to start with a bit of an update on where things stand with the SD core release. It's sort of got two halves, just for everyone, bring everybody up to speed. There's SD core itself, and the new Helm charts, now known as version 1.0.0, adopting the versioning strategy that is used elsewhere in Aether is published. There's now a candidate branch of on-ramp that uses all the new Helm charts, and as a consequence, the new images. It will officially be released as 2.2 of Aether, but that's a marketing label, not a version number in a Helm chart anywhere. The candidate branch has been tested across multiple blueprints, and I plan to merge it sometime after the call, so it will become widely available. And I've started a conversation with Timon about a release announcement. We'd like to not only announce SD core and talk about what's included in it, but kind of use this as an opportunity to reintroduce the Aether project to the community, since it's now running under LF instead of ONF. Timon happens to be out for a few days here, so we're not making a lot of progress on it, but he and I have started a press release which we'll circulate and get people's feedback on. Is there anything else to say on that topic?
So, Larry, one clarification, right? This is SD core Helm chart is 1.0.0, but the release actually is 1.4. That's a Helm chart version, but actual release is 1.4.
Yeah. Thank you. So in the other components, they were equated because the Helm chart was sort of the spec. But thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and my understanding, yeah, I did go and look. So the SD core release notes are up to date. Yeah, so I think everything is good here, and I think it's perfectly fine that we get this officially, technically released in the terms of what's available for people to download, and give ourselves a little time before the press release and any kind of marketing blitz that we want, just to make sure everything is good. Give us a chance to tweak any problems that might arise. Yeah, so that's all great. Anything else?
I'm not sure whether we should kind of discuss about the repositories for the release itself. Are we going to do something regarding the open networking registry, or should we leave it for later? That?
Yeah, that's okay. That's a good question. Let's talk about that as a sort of a general topic. I think it's orthogonal. So the registry. So right now, see, it's open. Okay. It is a mirror, right?
Yes.
But it's being used. It's referenced. Where? So it's in the values files. It's referenced, right? Is there any place else?
Actually, it's referencing the on-ramp.
Is it referenced anywhere else?
In on-ramp.
But yeah, I realize it is an on-ramp. Is it the official Helm charts do not reference it?
Let me take a quick look. Yeah, no, the official Helm charts uses Docker Hub as the default.
Okay, so this is an easy fix. There's actually a handful of other cleanups on OnRamp, but that is definitely one of them. Yeah, so to be fixed. If I wonder if that's the only reference to it, that will be easy. If there are other lingering references out there, I mean, it's no problem leaving it there for a while, but I agree that in terms of OnRamp, we should.
Yeah, or probably we could use the Aether registry as the mirror and then point OnRamp to the Aether registry. That could be probably more appropriate.
Yeah. Yep. Anything else like that?
I don't think so.
All right. Yeah. So like I said, I have a few other little housekeeping things to do an on-ramp like that. And we'll get those done before we officially announce it. Although I'm going to go ahead and merge the merge of a candidate is just the testing of the use of the new help charts by and large. All right, so I don't have a bullet on here for SD-RAN, but I see Wu Zhang is on, so maybe we should talk about that. Anything to report?
Not pretty much. So I am doing some interview with some candidates for SD-WAN engineering team. So I am contacting 3 PhD students, and probably they will accept my offer. Well, it is I will not pay it, but they will support me for free. But at this time, they do want to contribute something on the SD-WAN project, so probably they will be onboarded for helping SD-WAN not only release, but also for the other use cases or their own research topics. So it's ongoing. And also last week, I synced up with Gabriel for some GitHub action things. So we are on the same page. So I'm trying to review those SD-WAN repository one by one and then see how we can make it better. So that's still ongoing too.
So this is related to the GitHub actions.
Correct.
That is GitHub action.
Yeah, but at the moment we are blocked because of Jenkins jobs that we need help from DAF.
Yeah, and that was the ask last week of DAF was working on, or you were waiting on him anyway?
Yeah, I have been waiting for like a long time.
All right. Have you tried to communicate with him recently, and he's not responding?
No, he was saying that I think there is some issue with the certificates, but I haven't heard anything beyond that.
Okay. I'll circle back and double check on that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Wu Zhang, a company called XMG approached me a day ago. They're interested in contributing this. I'm just having some discussion with them, so I'll keep you posted, especially on the simulator.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I
sounds
met
good.
them at the big forum for 2 weeks ago, so they really would like to contribute and be a part of this. So just started the dialogue, and I'll let you know if there is something concrete happens quickly.
Yeah, please. Yeah, thanks.
And just a reminder for everyone, take a look at the SD-RAN wiki pages. Sort of starting to scope out the work to do, trying to scope out what people could be working on and how people can contribute. as a part of this. So, yeah, I'm not going to jump over there right now, but if you go over to SD-RAN pages, you'll find that. And in fact, let me use this as an opportunity. I'm going to slightly adjust the agenda here and jump to this next. So we've kind of had purposely tried to keep Aether as an umbrella and not overly fragment ourselves too early. So, because I thought everyone thinking it's important that there's plenty of cross-pollination and we're not siloing ourselves into little tiny buckets of 1 and 2 people. But as these projects get going, which is happening, I think it's quite natural that we might start to form working groups of people more narrowly focused on SD core, SD-RAN, and other things. And I just wanted to raise that. I don't think we have to act on it immediately, but I wanted to get people thinking about the possibility of forming working groups. And just as a kind of a model, and working groups are not a new invention. Lots of projects do this. But the one I'm most familiar with is just watching P4 because that was part of ONF. The TST at the end of the day they only meet like quarterly. Not that that's the right thing to do, but it's a model. And most of the work happens in the working groups. And the TST will appoint a working group chair, and the chair recruits people that are actively participating. So I just wanted to put that out there and see if there was any thoughts on it. I mean, SD core and SD-RAN are 2 obvious cases, but I think another one that I see beginning and would like to encourage is people that are doing trial deployments for different definitions of trial. They could be in the lab, they could be in the field. I think people using, I could have said use cases for this, it'd be a similar idea. So I just want to add, open that as a point of discussion and see if there's any thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's Christian. Yeah, I think it's great again because not everybody focuses on the same stuff, right? It's nice to have this working group also under the Aether umbrella because there is still the Aether end-to-end aspect, right? In terms of trials, do we have a list of ongoing trials or potential trials?
So that's a great question. So one, if you broadly define this to work in the lab, then you've got the research page. And the research page in the wiki shows you 2 examples, and there's more people out there. I've been trying to get them to fill that out. So keep an eye on it. But in terms of more field trials, the main one that I know of is ESNet. Is working with Aether, and they're working with MOSA labs to try to get outdoor 5G small cells. That will help certify those small cells for work with Aether. That was the original thing that kicked this off. But they want to do a field trial, probably in Colorado, in support of field research. ESNet is the Department of Energy's network.
Right.
So this is an actual deployment. There's another one that Kristen, you know about, which I'm not sure it's really gotten any traction yet at the Indiana manufacturing. So they have 5G in a manufacturing setting. That one's not fully taken root yet. The other one that I know about, and I actually see someone, I believe, from Iowa State, who don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm more than happy to hear about what you're doing. I know it's rural ag based, I think.
Yeah, Nari,
that's say a word about that.
That's ERA. Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Nari. Yeah. So we actually, myself and a few team members actually joined here just to listen and learn. Just for what you mentioned, it's the ERA wireless living lab project. We are deploying open source 5G and beyond solutions in field plus together with other solutions across Access and XR. Yeah, just a quick pointer there.
Yeah, thank you, and happy to have you here. Like I said, today's agenda is a little bit on the thin side, but there's a lot of insight into what's going on in the project that typically happens in this call. And so, yeah, from a field trial point of view, it's a little bit bigger than, I mean, in this particular case, it's bringing in programmable RAN as well, but it's not necessarily SD-RAM, but they might use SD core, and in the ESNet, it's SD core, and they're going to use Mosel Lab small cells. So it's using our components, not necessarily developing them.
Sure.
And yes, I think that could be an interesting and helpful for people to have a place to go and talk about those kinds of issues.
Yes, yes, I think so also, personally, yeah. Mhm.
So let me turn it around to you, Christian. Do you know of any field trial type activities that that Intel is involved with that would be appropriate here?
Not ongoing. You know, we had this POC with Dubai Telecom, but then, you know, it was not deployed widely, right? I mean, we can mention it, but, you know, there is no specific tractions on it. The one you mentioned with the PRF, right? Purdue Research Foundation, we need to check with them, right? How active they are. So this is the one I know about, right? No, I don't know any other specific one.
Anyone else? I mean, we've got a lot of, I actually see quite a few new names on the call here. Did anyone else want to volunteer deployments that they know about? No volunteers. Okay, so yeah, so I think this will somewhat organically happen.
Mhm.
And it'll happen because, you know, people are just need to talk more closely than is really logistically works on a TST call. All right, the last bullet is a really small one, but we are now publishing all of the Aether related documents guides on an AWS server that we're rapidly no longer going to depend on for Jenkins as we move to GitHub Actions. And if all that's happening there is that we're publishing some docs, I think there might be a server that we could free up, reduce our costs a little bit. And it's quite easy to publish GitHub pages. It used to be that you could have only one per organization, but now you can do GitHub document per repo. And so we can, it'll be pretty straightforward to do this. And I can, if you're interested in it, I can show you how we've done it with our book. And I think that could be repeated here too.
Two questions, Larry.
Yeah.
Does these GitHub pages work through like pull requests from the perspective that, you know, we create pull requests to update the documentation, and then, I don't know, through GitHub Actions, basically we publish this updated documentation into GitHub pages, or what is the?
Yeah. So basically you take the action that I originally wrote, and at the end, instead of using rsync to sync with a server, there is a built-in function, so to speak, that you can make it available as a GitHub. The biggest thing you got to do is get DNS set up for it.
Okay. The second thing, because for the SD core documentation, we are still pushing that to the open networking domain. Is that something that we're
yes, thank you for reminding me about that. I'd forgotten about that. I meant to I was thinking that we might do that in one fell swoop, but I think it's probably getting ourselves weaned off the open networking DNS is probably good. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. I see there's a new bullet about the ONOS project wiki. I did see a post on Slack that it's down, little bit out of scope, but I will make sure that DAF knows about it. I don't know what the problem is. That wiki seems to go down quite often. Anything else? Other topics? All right, quick meeting today.
So
Thanks,
Larry,
everybody. Oh, go ahead.
Larry, I had, yes, small topic, right? So we, like Gnode Sim being a independent small project, right, which can be used with any other core. So we were just thinking about taking the Gnode Sim document into the GitHub repo itself. So it's relatively easy for people to refer to that. And there
I
are some
love
of,
that idea. Bring the, yeah.
yeah, and some of the Gnode Sim document is still referring to AIAB, which possibly we should use now on-ramp as the example.
Yeah.
Or the,
Yeah. So, yeah, I love, that's a great idea. As I think in addition to just having it in a README, I think is part of the deal
okay,
in the repo.
yeah, that's all I had. Yeah, I'll do
Yeah,
the changes.
that's a really good idea. I like it. Even if it's short for starters, it would be good to do that. Just 1 second here. Oh, yeah, I was wondering, Kunal, I see that you are on. Is there anything to say about UE Ransim?
Yeah, I mean, mostly the last week I was working on fixing the integration test because due to that UPF issue, we were seeing a lot of jobs getting stuck. So with the new candidate branch also, I have seen the similar issue. I think I need to discuss this with Gabriel once again if the issue is still there with with the new on-ramp also.
Kunal, quick
Yeah.
question. So when you use the candidate branch, I see that Larry has candidate branch also for the submodules.
Right.
When you use the candidate branch for the on-ramp, do you also kind of check out the candidate branch for the submodules or not?
Yes. Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
bit convoluted to work with, truthfully.
Okay. Yeah, we can discuss.
So just as a kind of a meta point here, on-ramp includes a set of blueprints. I kind of think of them as the base blueprints. You know, you basically bring up the core, you bring up GNB Sim, you run some tests, and it's all good. And then people are free to add additional blueprints. It's not going to probably be possible to make sure that every single one of those let me call them contributed blueprints also works in lockstep with everything else. They might have to come along independently. So I don't, if you're specifically talking about the UPF, multiple UPF, that maybe needs to be debugged separately. I don't know. Is that specifically the one that's giving you trouble?
Yeah.
Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I think multi UPF was one of them, but initially the default UPF was also not coming up. So I think the JSON has now changed to JSON C. So some changes in the library as well.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
one of the issues is I don't think the multi UPF values file was tracking the latest. I'm not sure that it was tracking the latest version of SD core. I don't remember. Well, we could take this offline and make sure we get it right.
Yeah, because I didn't have an issue kind of deploying yesterday multiple UPFs. That's what I'm kind of trying to replicate. What is the problem? Again, so far I have seen the only thing is the difference is that the name of the file for using the UPF configuration, which is JSON-C now. But I saw that you have updated that in the candidate branch for the
Yeah, you know, this is why
It
I
is
think
updated.
getting candidate, I'm sorry, I think getting candidate merged in will help us narrow in on where the issue is.
You said
Right.
you are trying to merge it today?
I'm gonna do it, yeah, it's maybe even right after the call if I have time here.
Let me give it a try before you merge it. So in
Okay,
case that there is
sure.
something that I can provide some feedback.
Okay, sure.
So, Larry, coming on to the UE ransom blueprint, I mean, right now we have the standalone UE ransom blueprint, and earlier we have discussed that we'll focus for this release. We are going to focus on standalone UE ransom, and then we will further debug the Dockerized UE ransom, right?
Well, I don't know that it's essential that we go try to resurrect the Docker version. I think it's perfectly fine just to go with this, running it as a process.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Sure.
think there's any significant value in also debugging that one.
Yeah. Sure, I think we are good with the UE ransom. And we can, I think,
Is there now a Jenkins job that will test the single node UE ransom standalone?
single node, we do not have one. I mean, that is
I'm
right
sorry,
now free,
I said
but
it backwards. The 2-node version.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
do have
multi-node is
you
there.
do have a multi-node.
Yes.
Good. All right. Anybody have anything else?
One kind of general comment based on working on ramp and on the SD core. Is there any reason why we're using the PLMN ID as 20893? Why don't we use like 00101? Oh.
I can take a little bit of a stab at this one. 20893 is historically been a sample or example that's been used in 3GPP specs.
Okay.
There's no particular reason for it. We can probably change it to whatever we want. I've seen that in I've seen that in other projects as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I believe it came right from the free 5GC. I think they started.
Those examples got handed down quite a while,
No,
going back quite a way.
I think it came from OpenAir interface.
It could be as well, yeah.
Yeah, because the 208 is a France country code.
Well, I think Gabriel, the point is it didn't cover either one of them. It's historically been a 3GPP canonical example, so that's probably why both of those projects went with it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a nod to the fact that the standards bodies are headquartered in France or something like that.
Yeah. All right. Going once, other topics? All right, thanks, everybody. We'll do this again next week.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.